Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Hey Motorheads, this is your show, Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. If you want to get the hot rod of your dreams like this 1969 Camaro, anything you can possibly imagine, you've got lots of places you can go to get your car built. But if you go to Flatwood Customs, Daniel, you're going to get a car that's unique. You're going to get something that's different from what other people are doing. Why should they come to Flatwood Customs?
A couple reasons. One would be if you want a show car, a trailer queen, we could do that. That's not what we specialize in. We specialize in trailer queens that are actually drivable. Drivability is everything, and most guys spend this kind of money and they really want to be able to drive these cars.
It seems tragic to spend a bunch of money and then not be able to drive your car.
It's heartbreaking.
Yes, so you can take a car like this, go win the show, and then drive it home.
Absolutely.
Not have to throw it on the trailer.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about this Camaro in particular.
Okay.
This is a customer build you had. Starting with the engine here, what have you done with it?
It's a LS3 crate motor, 495 horse from GM Performance, coupled up with a 6L80 Supermatic transmission. It puts out a lot of power. It's got a nice cam in it.
It's got a nice cam, but it's not too much. It's
not too much.
Drivable.
Yep.
And that goes along with the suspension as well. You've done some things to make this thing more streetable, more drivable.
Absolutely. It's got tubular control arms, full coilover suspension, ride tech, as well as 4-link in the rear and coilovers.
And what do you find with the 4-link? How does that make handling a lot better, especially with a car making this much power?
Creates more travel and movability in the rear. It's a more modern feel in the rear. Yes, sir.
The interior jumps out at me on this car
yep.
as well. It's really a looker there on the inside.
Yep.
What have you done there?
It's a TMI upholstery kit. You can purchase those online through TMI. A lot of color options. We went with a gray on gray with this one. Distressed leather and suede, and it really kind of tied everything together.
And I love the paint color on this. Was that chosen by the customer?
It was, yes. He used to have a Porsche, and it was that color gray, and that's what he wanted. Yes, sir.
What sort of things do you do there in-house at Flatwood Customs? You're in South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what things do you do there at the shop?
Everything but engine machine work and upholstery.
Typically, if someone's got a vision, how do they get it to you? Or if they want a car and they don't know what they want, how does that all work out?
Usually they just give you a wish list of the things they want and then show you pictures of cars they like online, and you can usually kind of put something together. Sometimes they trust you just to make judgment, as long as the things that were on their wish list is on the car. Yeah.
How much back and forth is there?
A lot.
How many ideas? Yeah, ideas come from them and then ideas that come from you.
It's a lot. They have an idea and then they're open to suggestions, and then sometimes we just make those changes that need. Maybe it's not the right choice of wheel or stance or color upholstery, you know, things like that sometimes we'll kind of help them make the right decision.
I've used the word customer, but this is really somebody you're developing a relationship with, someone you're developing a friendship with, and how does that benefit them and benefit you when you're building a car like this?
Tremendously. It's really, some of our best builds have come from relationships with customers where they really trusted us, and the end result was just great. It's everything when they trust you and you trust them. But yeah, that's the biggest part of when you make a commitment like that.
What does it say about your team at Flatwood Customs when people have gotten a build from you and they come back to get another one?
It's a big boost of encouragement. That means that we've done our job. You know, the customer's happy, and it's awesome when you can build another one for them. It's awesome.
How important is it for you to have such a good team assembled to get all this done?
It's everything, because there's no one-man show. It takes you know, leaders in every department to try to see the job through it and make sure that it gets done right, and everyone has to work together.
If you're looking for a classic car build or restoration, Flatwood Customs can do an amazing job for you. Find them at Facebook and on Instagram. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com. So keep the gas to the floor.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com, is brought to you by Zero, the leader in motorcycle accessories. Shade Wagon, throw some shade. And by DragonfireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com. Now, Motorheads, if you're like me, you don't think much about gas. You just take the pump, put it in your car, it makes your car go. But there's so much more to it than that, and Guy Olson knows all of those things. He's here from Performance Fuel Specialist. He's going to tell us how to make the most out of the ethanol and gasoline that goes into our car. Now, Guy, let's talk the basics here. Why is it so important to clean our engine by cleaning our fuel?
Well, it's really important. I'm so glad to be here, Dave. Again, we really want to just kind of specialize here today and help them understand why you'd be treating your fuel every time. And one of those things is the ethanol that's been mandated by the government in our fuel, and that creates a lot of issues. No, I'm not against the ethanol in the fuel. However, if we're going to use it, we got to compensate for it. And one of the things that we have is what we call our ethanol guardian, and that's actually added to the existing gas treatment we have to protect you against corrosion, keep your pH in control, keep your acidity under control, as well as the phase separation when the ethanol separates from the gasoline. That's one of the problems. You know, ethanol has about a 33% less energy than regular petroleum-based fuel. So they mandate 10% ethanol, but in actuality, you only gain about 5% usage because you lose 5% of your efficiency out of that. And then by the time you're done with all the subsidies and everything else the government has to do to grow all that ethanol, we really aren't any money ahead. But it's helpful in the sense that it does help with the pollution part. So what we can do is make a difference with the additive. So every time you get gas, you get ethanol. So you want to treat that ethanol every time.
But other manufacturers of additives say you do it every 3,000 or 4,000 miles. Why is that not the thing to do?
That's good. Well, it only makes sense, right? Because every time you get gas, you get ethanol. Why would you need to just add something to take care of the ethanol every once in a while? And most products don't even have the technology added to it. This is our own particular product itself. And so by adding the ethanol guardian every time, you're going to lubricate, you're going to protect against that. You're going to get some of your performance back. I can't get you back everything, but I can get you back some of what you're losing from a protection standpoint.
The guy said to think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't do that once a month, you do it every day to make sure your teeth stay clean, and that just makes a whole lot of sense.
Exactly right. Plus, the addition of the EPA requirements generates a lot of heat in these engines. You know, the tolerances are really tight, the pressures are really high. So a tiny particle in an injector can create a massive change in efficiency. Plus the hot fuel goes back to your tank, right? Which creates oxidation, or it ages your fuel, so your fuel doesn't burn efficiently because now it's been prematurely aged. Plus your fuel's going back hot, and then it goes through your fuel system hot. And you being in the race industry, what's one of the problems you have with hot fuel? It doesn't burn well.
You got it.
Right?
Performance is way down.
Exactly right. And so now we got hot fuel returning, which means we got more carbon buildup in our cylinders. So we got to keep it clean 100% of the time. Who can afford to run with an engine that's not at its very best?
I know people are thinking, boy, that's inconvenient to treat the fuel every time I add gas to the car.
Yeah.
How have you made it easy?
Yeah, so a bottle of this will treat 120 gallons. The ounces are on the side. Under the top is a squirt top. You simply add what you think you're going to need. If you're a little more, you're a little less, it's no problem. Put it back in. You've bought one bottle instead of 12 bottles, labels, lids. We're saving on plastic. It's great for the environment, and you always have something handy. You're not looking for it somewhere else, making it real cost efficient.
Now, I do know enough about fuel to know that there are summer and winter blends, and it depends on the region. So can I use PFS in the summer and the winter with all those different fuels?
Yes, and we recommend it year-round, primarily because people will have, say, a water issue in the wintertime, but you don't get the water issue in the wintertime. You get it now, the spring and the fall and the summertime. So by using the additive and taking the water out every time you fuel, when winter gets here, we don't have a tank full of water that we're worried about. And what you're saying is absolutely true. Winter gasoline, diesel is the same, is different than summer. They need an additional product like butane to help your engine start in the colder weathers. But that creates problems in the summer, which would be primarily vapor lock. So buy the fuel for the season which you plan on using it.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, what about older vehicles, classic vehicles and that sort of thing that still require leaded gasoline?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's some bad news with that. So the manufacturer of the component that replaced lead, which every lead substitute had, everybody used the same manufacturer for that. It no longer exists. They do not make it. We are one of the few lead substitutes left, and it's only what stock we have on hand. Once it's gone forever.
Get it while it's hot.
Get it while it's hot. If you can't change your valves, you're sunk, or your seats, you're just sunk. And there's some engines you can't. So get it while you can. There's limited supply.
You've given us a whole lot of great information. What's really the bottom line? What do people really just need to know about fuel treatments?
They need to know that things have changed. It is not the way Grandpa did it. The fuel, the engines, everything has changed. You need to take care of the investment you've got in these engines. Very expensive. Treat it every time, lubricate it every time, take the water out every time, protect against ethanol every time. You'll get far more out of your engine, far more out of your fuel economy. It's a win-win all the way around.
The guy's given us a whole lot of great information. There's a whole lot more, and you can find it on his website at fuelguys.com. He's got instructional videos, the newsletter you can sign up for, and believe me, you're going to get a great education. And oh, by the way, look for Guy in coming weeks here on Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. He's going to be back with a lot more great info. And we'll be back with more Motorhead Garage right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon studio.
This is Motorhead Garage, and we're cleaning things up here around our studio, including our cabinets from DragonfireTools.com with Crocodile Cloth. And you're probably looking at this thinking, it's just a wipe. But this isn't just a wipe, Connor. How is Crocodile Cloth different and unique?
Yeah, so Crocodile Cloth is going to be the biggest, baddest, toughest cleaning wipe on the planet. It's safe on skin, multiple surfaces, and pretty much anything you're getting messy with.
Well, that's really important to me as a parent. You don't want that around your pets. You don't want that around your kids, to have all the toxins and things that are in other wipes as well. And the size, I noticed that the wipes, are usually tiny. You're using 600 of them to clean stuff up around the house. How is Crocodile Cloth different there?
Yeah, so all of our wipes are going to be 10 by 15. So for those of you out there who are good with numbers, that's pretty big. For those who aren't, you can kind of get a glimpse of it. So one wipe can clean up your whole kitchen, your whole bike, whatever, like I said, you're getting messy with. One wipe will do the trick, whereas other guys takes 5, 6, 7 wipes.
And you have different wipes here, so there's different versions of the Crocodile Cloth. Walk me through what's out there and how I can use it.
Yeah, for sure. So probably our fan favorite of late is going to be our Power Scrub Auto Wipe. This one just hit shelves at Walmart, so check out the automotive section. You're going to find those there. We also have our grill product, which is outstanding for tailgating, keeping around the house or in your backyard. Going to be food safe too, which is awesome. Yeah. And then we got our outdoor product. So if you're going to racing events, great for having in the camper or in the campsite. It's going to be biodegradable too, so you can take a little bird bath with it in between, actual showers if needed. And then our other two products I got here, we have our Power Scrub and Original. Those are the first products we came out with, and since then we found a lot of different use cases for them. So those ones are going to be multifaceted, applicable across any surface.
One thing my wife and I always notice with wipes when we have them in the car, they dry up. We never get through the whole package, so we end up wasting a ton. How have you tackled that at Crocodile Cloth? Yeah,
so one of our biggest claims to fame is our never dry guarantee, which means when you buy a pack of Crocodile Cloth, it'll stay wet in that package for up to a year after purchase and using your first wipe. We know it's a huge pain point, so we want to make sure customers are paying for a high quality product.
That saves you money, and it's always going to be ready when you need it, which is very cool. Now, you mentioned Walmart. Where else can folks get Crocodile Cloth? Yeah,
so you can find our full product line at HomeDepot.com or in Home Depot stores with our original Power Scrub and Grill. We also sell a paint product there too. And of course, Amazon, your local Ace Hardwares, and some other places you're going to start seeing it pop up more and more.
Very cool. You don't have to believe the guy from the company. You can believe a guy who's using it all the time. Ryan Clark is a crew chief on the Heartbeat Hot Sauce Yamaha that you see in the Supercross series every week. And Ryan, how has Crocodile Cloth changed what you guys do week in, week out?
Well, it's fundamentally changed what we do between the events. So we have multiple qualifiers before the main event, kind of the main show where they get the points and are in front of the big crowd. So every time they come off, their mechanics can simply get the bike on the stand, get it cleaned up, do the maintenance they need to do, and then get the guys back out on the track right away. So we're racing in football stadiums, baseball stadiums in big cities like San Francisco, where there's a lot of restrictions on where you can pressure wash bikes. So it's really been a solution for us to be able to just get back, get our stuff done, be looking good, showcasing our partners, and get the guys back out on the track.
What are some of the messes you're cleaning up around the pits?
Well, we race dirt bikes, right? So number one, dirt. We're wiping dirt off. Guys get roosted out there. They're racing with 20 other racers. it rains a lot. You know, we have a lot of open air stadiums. And then you've got oil residues from chain lube and you know, changing your oil and just doing the general stuff to kind of showcase how cool these machines are. So we want to put our best foot forward and showcase all the products that we put on our bike, and Crocodile Cloth was a great solution for that.
I know you like it and your guys love it too.
Yeah, they use it on everything, and I mean the cool thing is, you know, we use it at home, we use it, I grill at the races too, so I'm using basically every wipe they've got for a different application, you know, wiping down our semi-transporter, just across the board. It's been a really good fit, you know, as far as partnership, because it's a product that we use anyway. And so we can kind of show the fans at home what we do to keep the bikes looking so good, and then hopefully they can apply it themselves as well.
Of course, Crocodile Cloth can handle mud, and all these guys can throw at it. It can handle barbecue sauce, things around your house. It can handle that spray foam that gets stuck on your hands all the time. It does that and a whole lot more, and it's made in the USA. That's one of my favorite things about it. Find them at Home Depot and all over the place. You can also find them at crocodilecloth.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com, so do not go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store. Amsoil, the first in synthetics. And by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM for radios since 1977.
We were rolling along on the way here to the shop, and look what we found, a vehicle broken down. Fortunately, we had our tools with us, so we went up under the hood and we found a coolant failure. One of the hoses actually blown off. Welcome to this Amsoil Tech Tip. Yeah, it's all about the coolant system. And if we get into the coolant system, we have to look at how it functions. And you can see here, it starts at the bottom there with the water pump. It's going to actually take the fluid up to the water pump, through the block. Once it goes through the block, out a thermostat, and then returns back to the radiator. It's all about that law of thermodynamics, and I have it for you right here. You can actually see it. If I fire it up, I said it starts at the water pump, and then what's happening here is it's coming in through the bottom and out through a thermostat, which we don't have on this motor, so it's allowed to flow here and return to the radiator. I'm taking the heat from the motor, taking it to the outside air, boom, getting rid of it. Once again, that law of thermodynamics. But you're gonna have to have a thermostat. And you can see a thermostat right there on this graphic. It's actually open or closed. When it's closed, it's gonna bypass and let the engine get up to temperature very quickly, kind of an emissions reasons. I got one right here and you can see it. So when it opens and closes, hey, better yet, I can actually show it to you, opening and closing. What we did is we took one of these thermostats, and with temperature, we went ahead and boiled it. And once we boiled it, we got it above the temperature of where it needed to be open. You see the gap right there? Well, that's actually an open thermostat. So what we do with it? Well, we put it in cold water. And once we put it in that cold water, you can actually see it start to close. And that's pretty cool. Anytime you do any coolant repair, you want to have a thermostat. Now to check the coolant systems, you can do a couple things. Up on the screen, I got a refractometer. You just look through it, you can see the glycol level, you can see if your coolant's good. You can do test strips or you can do a hydrometer. But Len, the deal is there's all collage there of different color coolants. Manufacturers use specific coolant. That's important with the vehicles today.
Right, there's not just one or two types of coolant anymore, and the reason for the dye is just to identify their specific type of coolant. But the reasoning behind that is the metals that we're using to build the components, the engine block, the cylinder heads, the radiator, aren't just a couple different types of metal anymore. They're aluminums, they're alloys. There's all different kinds, and we need to be providing protection.
Now, Amsoil has that coolant for multiple engines?
That's correct. We've got coolant for all your needs. Just got to look it up, what it fits, and go from there.
Now, also, tell me about this. This hose looks pretty good, Len, but if you look inside, man, it's totally rotted out, deteriorated.
Right.
Here's a water pump right here. The fins are totally missing. That's not going to produce any flow, man. Corrosion, big problem.
Right, dissimilar metals, corrosion. It's basically the coolant reacting with the engine block or the heads or the water pump, and that reaction creates corrosion. Metal can actually be stripped away.
Len, that's incredible, and that's why it's so important to use Amsoil coolant. You know, maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. You got it? Whether it's your coolant system or any other system on your vehicle, Amsoil has you covered. For a comprehensive and simple to use website, just go to amsoil.com.
A few weeks ago, Shelly Olson nominated her husband Pete to be our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. Well, Shelly also told us about Mike Sharon. Mike and Pete were friends growing up, and they lost touch for about 25 years. But just a few years ago, they ran into each other at guess where? The auto parts store. Pete invited Mike to spend a day at the track, and he even let Mike drive his Dodge Dart down the strip, and that sealed the deal. Mike bought a '64 Ford Fairlane, and he and Pete worked on it for 5 years. It was certainly worth the wait because in his very first race, Mike won the Open Trophy class twice. Mike's making a name for himself as a driver. He's also made a name for himself with that amazing mustache. So at the beginning of 2024, he named his car Mad Stash. We love it. Mike Sharon, driver of the Mad Stash and our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. Tell us who should be the next Motorhead of the Week. Just send us a note at MotorheadGarage.tv. We hope you like this edition of Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com. We want you back next week, so in the meantime, drive safely. We'll see you.